Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the clutter and pull out the key stuff you need to know.
That's the plan.
So today we're digging into a new book. It's called Mastering AWS, Solving the Top Developer Challenges with S3, IAM, EC2, Lambda, and Cognito by Soren Stepanian. Just came out 2025. It's an independent first edition.
Okay.
And our mission really is to look at this from maybe a marketing angle. Like, what's the core value here for developers? What? Pick this book up.
Right, because there's a lot of AWS info out there.
Exactly. So if you're listening, you're probably a developer, maybe working with AWS day in, day out. You want practical stuff, not fluff.
And I think the book gets that straight away. The author mentions its origin, saying it was born out of broken deployments, midnight outages,
Oh, yeah.
and post-mortems that left more questions than answers. That hits home, doesn't it?
It really does. It signals this isn't just theory. It's from someone who's, well, felt the pain.
Exactly. It suggests the advice is, battle-tested.
And it clearly states who it's for, right? Developers facing these specific AWS hurdles.
Yeah, whether it's serverless stuff, IAM nightmares, cost spiraling.
Or those lovely 2 a.m. alerts.
Precisely. The book actually says, you're not alone. This book's for you, which is quite direct.
That personal connection is definitely a strong selling point, I think. It promises empathy, almost.
And the structure is interesting, too. It's deliberately not meant to be read straight through.
Right, not a textbook you slog through.
No, unless you really, really want to, as the author kind of jokes. It's designed so you can jump in exactly where you need help.
So like S3 is on fire, you go straight to the S3 chapter.
That's the idea. No need to wade through Lambda stuff if your problem is S3 permissions.
Okay, that's practical. More like an emergency toolkit.
Yeah, or a field guide. And it includes things like checklists for, say, auditing your setup.
Ah, proactive stuff.
Yeah.
To catch problems before they happen.
Hopefully. And this sounds really useful. Copyable CLI examples.
Oh, that's gold. When you're stressed during an incident, just copy-paste.
Exactly. Saves time, reduces typos under pressure. It seems very focused on quick, actionable fixes.
I saw something about what you probably missed sections.
Yeah, those sound intriguing, like highlighting the common traps or the little details that often trip people up, even experienced ones.
Trying to prevent those silent failures or the surprise bills.
Precisely. Avoiding those facepalm moments.
So let's talk specifics. Which services? It's S3, IAM, EC2.
Lambda and Cognito, the core building blocks for many apps.
Okay, let's take S3. Foundational, but boy, can it be easy to mess up, like leaving buckets open.
A classic. The book apparently tackles that head-on. Not just don't do it, but how to check, using the CLI, maybe pointing to trusted advisor.
It mentions a quick exposure checklist. That sounds handy.
Definitely. And it seems to dig into why this keeps happening. Maybe the flexibility is also, a double-edged sword.
Makes sense. And S3 costs. That's another big one. Unexpected spikes.
Right. And the book seems to go into common causes, like maybe unmanaged log files piling up or using the wrong storage class without realizing the cost implication.
Does it give you ways to find the leak?
It mentions detection steps using the CLI, so yeah, helping you trace where the money is going. It also apparently covers why lifecycle rules sometimes don't kick in like you thought they would.
Ah, okay. That could save a lot of cash if your rules aren't actually cleaning up old data.
For sure. And things like the risks with presigned URLs if they're not constrained properly, or S3 consistency causing weird data issues.
Right, the eventual consistency model can bite you sometime.
And undisciplined versioning, access logs for security, cross-region replication failing silently. Lots of potential S3 pitfalls covered.
Okay, what about IAM? That's always complex.
The security backbone, yeah. The book apparently addresses why a policy might look right, but still not grant the access you need.
Yeah, the dreaded access denied.
Exactly, and the danger of giving permissions that are too broad, plus the absolute necessity of locking down that root account.
Everyone needs that reminder.
And it gets into the weeds a bit. Service-linked roles, how AWS decides between an allow and a deny if they conflict.
Oh, the policy evaluation logic. That's crucial.
And using tags for control, visualizing permission boundaries, securing IAM with specific conditions like IP address or MFA. It sounds pretty thorough.
Useful for anyone managing more than a couple of users or roles. It mentions identifying unused IAM stuff, too.
Yeah, cleaning up old users or roles, good security hygiene.
Okay, moving to EC2. What are the highlights there?
Well, security, again, open ports, using old AMIs,
Yeah.
but also cost. It talks about an EC2 money leak.
Finding those idle instances or misconfigured ones?
Seems like it. And troubleshooting instances you just can't connect to. We've all been there.
Definitely. Selecting the right instance type, avoiding auto-scaling problems.
Recovering accidentally terminated instances, hopefully you have backups. Optimizing EBS volumes, figuring out slow boot times.
Hardening security, preventing metadata service exploits. That's a subtle but important one.
And basic monitoring, like memory and disk usage, which CloudWatch doesn't give you out of the box for EC2.
Right. Good point. Okay, Lambda. Serverless pain points.
Permissions are a big one in Lambda, right? Things just don't work, and it's not obvious why.
And cold starts, of course.
The classic, but also debugging functions that just disappear. No logs, nothing.
Ooh, tricky.
And securely handling secrets, debugging triggers from S3 or Event Bridge, optimizing dependencies to help with those cold starts.
Breaking down big monolithic lambdas.
Yeah, and preventing abuse like accidental loops or cost surges.
Yeah.
Even managing CloudWatch logs when you have tons of functions running.
Log fragmentation, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Cognito, user identity.
Often a source of frustration. Broken logins, especially with the hosted UI.
Tokens expiring unexpectedly. Users hate that.
Big time. And troubleshooting MFA, social sign-ins, integrating with enterprise systems.
Managing users who haven't confirmed their accounts, handling multi-tenant apps. Seems like it covers a lot of common Cognito struggles.
It really seems focused on those practical, everyday developer problems across these key services.
And the whole tone, as you said, seems to be from developers, for developers, people who've been burned by vague errors.
Silent failures and surprise costs. Yeah, promises real examples, actual CLI fixes you can use.
Not just theory, but stuff that works in the real world.
And importantly, no fluff, no theory dumps, just straight answers. That's a strong pitch for busy developers.
Absolutely. Time is valuable.
If you don't have hours to sift through documentation or blog posts, having targeted answers seems like the core benefit.
So wrapping it up for the listener, if you're nodding along thinking, yeah, I've hit that S3 issue, or IAM policies drive me crazy, or my Lambda costs are weird.
Then this book, Mastering AWS, might be a really solid resource to have on your digital shelf.
It sounds like it aims to be a shortcut, saving time, saving money, preventing those common mistakes.
Exactly. Giving you back time to actually build things, not just fight fires. Reducing downtime, cutting costs, fewer late nights, that's the promise.
A pretty compelling value proposition.
I think so. By focusing on these very specific, very common problems and offering concrete fixes, it could be a really efficient way to level up your AWS game.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. What's the one AWS challenge that gives you the biggest headache right now?
Good question.
And, could having a guide like this focused on practical solutions actually help you solve it faster and maybe, just maybe, prevent it next time? Something to think about.
Definitely worth considering.
All right. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.